guys, this is English Grammar. I'm Kamaldeep from English Tweaks. How many ways do you know to talk about the future in English? In this episode, I'll teach you 4 easy ways to talk about the future in English. First way, with will or shall. For examples, I'll go to the school. I shall always love you. Second way, with going to. For examples, I'm going to study. I'm going to sleep. Third way, with present progressive. For example, I'm flying to New York tomorrow. Fourth way, with simple present. The flight to New York arrives at 7. To understand in a better way, let's watch this video.
So let's get started with will. To form the simple future, use will and then the simple form of the verb. For example, I will go to the school. I will always love you. I will study hard. I will do my taxes on time. Okay, so we use will plus a verb when we are talking in the far future. For example, in 50 years, Chinese will speak English. We use this also when we are not sure about something. This is my prediction, but I don't have much evidence of this. I am not very sure. So I will use will. Another example, aliens will invade Earth. Okay? In 25 years, aliens are coming, they will invade the Earth. I don't mean to scare you. Luckily, I am using will, which means I am not really sure. We also use will when we are making promises. Okay? So if somebody ever gets down on their knee and says, "Will you marry me?" I will marry you. I am promising to marry you. Okay? Or maybe I don't really like the person, I might say, I won't marry you. Want is the negative form of will. So I promise is not to marry you. We often use short contracted forms of auxiliaries in spoken English. The will future is formed with the auxiliary will, so short contracted forms are very frequent. In everyday conversation, will often gets shortened, which can be difficult for English learners to hear. For example, he'll leave tomorrow. Or, I'll go to the school. Okay? Next, let's see the another form of future tense. The second form of the simple future is be going to plus verb. For example, I am going to sleep. I am going to study. So, these are examples of the be going to plus verb. So we use this when we are talking about the near future. So it's not a future that's very far away, it's soon. So it's a future where we think something is going to happen, and we have evidence that something is going to happen. So, for example, he is going to spend his vacation in Hawaii. This means you probably have your tickets already bought, you are pretty sure about this. There's not a lot of confusion. This is almost going to happen, almost certainly. If you do not have a plan, use will. If you are making a prediction about the future, you can use will or be going to. You can say, the movie Zenith will win several Academy Awards. Or, the movie Zenith is going to win several Academy Awards. The meaning is the same. In casual conversation, most Americans will change going to gonna. So, for examples, I am gonna sleep. I am gonna study. Be careful with this expression. You might want to avoid using the reduced form, gonna, in formal situations. You should never use it in professional or academic writing. Another way to express the future is with shall. Shall has the same meaning as will to express the future. For examples, shall I shut the door? Where shall we go today? Shall we go for a drink? But these days, shall seems very formal and a bit old-fashioned in American English. It more common in British English. Sometimes a present tense can express the future. Let's get started with the present continuous future. So the present continuous is when you have the verb, so I am, you are, he is, she is, they are, plus the verb and ing. Imagine you have a flight to New York tomorrow. There are several ways to express the future in this situation. Since you have a plan, you can use be going to. I am going to fly to New York tomorrow. You could also use the present progressive. I am flying to New York tomorrow. The meaning is almost the same. The present progressive just emphasizes that the flight is a scheduled event. If you are referring to a fixed schedule or timetable, you can even use the simple present to express the future. For example, the flight to New York arrives at 7. The simple present here shows that the flight has a regular set schedule. Let's move on to the future progressive. To form the future progressive, use will be followed by the ing form of the verb. For example, I will be working when you arrive. Use the future progressive to talk about an event that will be in progress or unfinished in the future. Speakers use the future progressive to talk about more than one future action. For example, don't call me after 9 because I will be studying. Or, I will be sleeping when you get home. There are other ways to express the future, such as the future perfect and future perfect progressive, but they are rare. A native speaker may never use them in an entire lifetime.
I hope you have learned how to talk about the future in English. Now let's see some of the common mistakes we see in all of the future tenses we have discussed. Let's watch.
First, remember that you cannot use will in a time clause. For example, I am going to visit her when I will arrive should be I am going to visit her when I arrive. The when phrase, also known as a time clause, uses the simple form of the verb in a future tense. Another common mistake is with the third person s. He will meet me tomorrow should be he will meet me tomorrow. There is quite a bit of flexibility with future tenses. Sometimes there is little or no difference among different forms. If you have a choice, use the simplest tense.
This brings me to an end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. I'll see you again